very, very long Serbian-Hungarian relationship. I did a little bit of research on this today. Wikipedia, English, Hungarian. I even looked at the Serbian, little words here and there. And of course, I suppose the first really big event, I mean, there was, at the beginning of the 15th century, a Serbian-Hungarian alliance against the Turks. We won't speak too loudly about this. But the big event, obviously, is the place that we call now Nosahiva, we call Belgrade, 1456. The siege is raised, and the menace of the Ottoman Empire is deferred for yet another 2 or 3 generations. I think this is important because it sort of signifies that when the time comes, the boundary between Eastern and Western Christianity is not so important. We can overcome it. There are differences, of course, and in a way that's proper. That's all to do with diversity in Europe. We don't have to agree with everything. Then I think the next event in this many centuries long history is the arrival of Assyria III in Vojvodina, I think 37,000 families, I seem to recall. A fair number whose descendants are around today. Some of them may even live in Hungary. I think most of them live in Serbia today. It became Metropolitan of Szentendre, which of course is in a way the heart of what we're talking about today. Vuk Karadžić, most of you will know, but maybe the Hungarians don't, his key figure in Serbian culture, spent time in Szentendre. Some of the work that he did was actually from the records that he found there. Of course, the relationship wasn't always perfect. There were hostilities in 1848, lesser extent in 1849. And of course, the low point, as Georges said, came during the Second World War. I think we're getting past this. I think now enough time has passed that when we look back at this and see exactly what happened, the historical truth, I don't have to tell you, releases us. It releases us from so much. Which I can still remember. I was in Prague in 1968. How proudly people were able to say, the truth prevails. Pravda vítězí. Probably somewhat different in Serbian, but it's not a language I claim to speak. Now, what is fascinating for me, and that in a sense is what this exhibition is about, is the meeting point between Western and Eastern Christianity, which produces a complex interaction. Now, I'm no art historian, but I know a little bit, so let me share a few ideas with you. You can shoot me down afterwards. I'm sure there are barrels of Slivovitz hidden away somewhere in the dark heart of this building. Basically, Western Christianity, for all sorts of complex reasons, is about multiplicity. And if you look at the actual development of Western Christianity, there are countless different ways in which Western Christianity expresses itself. You will know this presence of purgatory, the role of the individual, much more, in a way, important than a collective consciousness. Eastern Christianity, it seems to me, what little I understand of theology, is about uniting the physical with the metaphysical. It's a very different way of understanding. They're both perfectly valid ways of understanding Christianity. Now, if I look at Orthodox art as an outsider, but I don't think I'm too far from the reality, look around you, what you will see is the unchanging nature of the sacred. The emphasis is on stillness and on two-dimensionality. This is the classic concept of Orthodox art. Western Christianity stresses beauty in the south, stresses sinfulness in the north, while we Protestants don't really like these graven images at all. But that's another story. That's really between us and the Catholics and the people. But if you look around, what you see, at least what I see, is actually a subtle blend of the Orthodox style, which is touched by the elements of the Baroque. It's not quite two-dimensional. The colouring is different, and I have seen icons in St. Petersburg, in Moscow, in Pskov, very different. Also very different from the Greek, a little bit like the Romanian, but clearly there's an interaction here, which I find fascinating, because in a way it says, we are touched by the other. We can't get away from this. We are, in that sense, involved in an ongoing dialogue. The Matica Srpska that has been mentioned, of course, is one of the key elements in this. Now, all this says to me the many years of Serbian-Hungarian contact has had its results. It's a two-way relationship. We've taken things over from Serbia. I learned today, by the way, that what you call carrots actually is the Hungarian shagoréka. You don't use this word murok, which the Hungarians use in Transylvania, incidentally. And of course, you all know, no, maybe not. There are a very large number of South Slav words in Hungarian. I can't even begin to tell you how many, but if you look up the technical data, you will find that all sorts of things in Hungarian we wouldn't be able to name if it had not been taken from one of the South Slav languages. The transmission was mostly Serbian rather than one of the other South Slav languages. If nothing else, that tells you that there is an intimate relationship, and my guess is that we have more words from South Slav languages than from the Northwest Slav languages, Czech-Slovak and Polish. We have some of this as well, possibly even from Russian. I won't tell you which they are, but I think you can guess. So, in a way, what I'm trying to say here is that I think this is an important event. It tells you something about an ongoing relationship. It's a relationship that's improving, and many of us, so far what I've heard, have talked about Europe. Now, in the European Parliament, we produce a report every year on Serbia. I am the shadow for the European People's Party. The rapporteur is Jelko Kacin. Although we belong to different groups, we actually get on reasonably well. And those of you who've seen the text of it will know that it's actually quite positive. We have hopes, it's no more than that, that a reasonable chance that the opening of negotiations will be announced sometime later today, and eventually, in the fullness of time, before I'm much older, Serbia will even be able to join the European Union as a full-fledged member. And obviously, we in Hungary, we have an active interest in Serbia becoming a member of the European Union. We really want all our neighbours, and you know, once upon a time we didn't have very many neighbours. We seem to have new neighbours all the time. So welcome to the neighbourhood of Hungary. Thank you for your time.